Guess what, guys? Today is a really amazing day because finally I've been working on this e-commerce tutorial for so long and finally it's out. Okay, so in this tutorial, it's going to be a simple, basic e-commerce store. For example, if you want to sell clothing, if you want to sell arts and crafts, if you want to sell downloadable products or virtual products, for example, logo design services, then this is your tutorial. This isn't a tutorial like building a store like eBay or Amazon, so don't expect that. I also wanted to announce that I'm going to be doing a giveaway for 3 Apple iPads. So make sure to subscribe and also click the link in the description to actually verify that. And it would be awesome if this video can hit 200 likes as well. Okay, so in this video, I'll be going through everything from the start. For example, getting your domains and getting that up and running first. And then I'll be going through how to build a really professional homepage using the drag and drop builder, which is super important. I'll also go through design techniques with you as well, so to make sure that your website is really polished. And then I'll show you how to add in products. I'll show you how to add in variable products, which is like maybe like a jumper. You might have a small size or you might have different colors of it. And then I'll show you how to set up the tax settings. That is really hard. I've been working on that for ages, and then finally I understand it, so I can actually teach you guys about that. And then I'll go through the shipping options, for example, setting in different prices for different areas and also different prices for different products. And then what we'll go through is the coupons, show you how to set that up, and also the payment options, so you can actually get paid before you send that product out. And of course, the most important part is actually setting in the colors. Okay, so I'll be showing you how to create the perfect color palette and then apply it to your site. So what we're going to do now is basically go into the screen, and then I will walk you through a live transaction, and then we'll start building. All good? Okay, so we're inside the store, so I guess I can get changed into my pajamas now. Just kidding. Anyways, so we're inside the store. As you can see, it's fairly basic, but you can add all the bells and whistles and things like that later, which I'll have additional videos for. So for example, if the customer clicks on shop now, they'll be directed into the shop page where you'll have a product filter, and let's say they're looking for a jumper. They can use it and just click on the jumper, and they click into that jumper. Okay, so they can read about the products, and they can also select the different variations that they might like. For example, a small one might be cheaper, and they can read the description as well as the shipping information, and also people can also leave reviews. They can also add to wish list, so basically that will add it there, and if you add that to cart, okay, that will go there, and then they can just click on checkout. So once they check out, they can also create a username and login, and then set in their information so that every time when they come to your store, they can just log in and then check out really quickly. So for example, as I said, I'll show you how to add in a coupon. So it might be Black Friday, and then they can apply that coupon, which you should get a discount. Okay, so you can get free shipping, flat rate, or local pickup as well. So what we're going to do is I'll just quickly fill in that information and we'll do a quick test transaction. Okay, so I filled in all that information, and then what you can do is select the shipping options here. As you can see, Black Friday gives me a 90% discount, so I only have to pay $7. So if people don't have a PayPal account, they can also use credit cards via PayPal. So you can they'll click on proceed to PayPal, and then they'll basically log in to their PayPal account. And if they don't have PayPal, they can pay with their credit or debit card. Okay, so let's click on login. Just click on pay now. Okay, so basically I've sent the amounts. Right now we're gonna go and check the emails. So this is the order receipt that your customer will receive, and you can actually change the design of it later. You'll also get an email as well, so you can actually fulfill the order, but you'll also be able to log into your dashboard area where you can manage the orders. You can complete it and you can view it, And also you can click on the report section where you can get a report on your sales per year, last month, this month, so you can actually track it accurately. And you can also track the customers as well as the stock and taxes as well. So that is basically it. I'll be going through an overview of exactly what we need and also the steps that we're going to be taking. So the first thing that you guys will need is a domain name and hosting. So domain name is basically like your web address. So for example, yourname.com. Okay, Google's domain name is google.com, and hosting is basically where you actually save all the website files. You'll also might need a SSL, and basically this is the little green lock which is next to your web address. If you go to apple.com, you should see it in the browser section. So this is recommended for most e-commerce websites because you're actually collecting data from your customers and you want to make sure that's secure. So that's what that does. Then I'll show you how to install WordPress, and basically WordPress is a content management system. In short, that basically means you're able to build a website without needing to know how to code. And then I'll show you how to configure all the settings. Okay, and then the third step is installing the theme and plugins. So the theme is basically like the skin of the website, and that would include the drag and drop builder as well. And then I'll show you how to design the website and actually build the homepage by using the drag and drop builder. And I'll also show you how to add your products in, so your simple products, variable products, and then we'll show you how to set up the shop page and also add in the filter. Then I'll show you how to configure the WooCommerce settings, which includes the taxes, shipping, payment, and coupons. Then I'll go through adding in your logo and choosing colors and applying it properly to your website. So what is the cost of everything? So basically for your domain name, the cost of that is around $5.99 per year. Now the hosting is around $10 a month. And the SSL normally is paid by the year, and I think that is around $19 per year. Okay, so those few things are definitely required because you definitely need an address, you definitely need somewhere to save it, and you definitely, I would recommend at least a SSL because you're an e-commerce website. So WordPress will be free and the theme is also free as well, but you do have the option to upgrade, which means you get 1 year support and also updates. So this is the same theme that I use for my website at hoganchua.com, and it's awesome. It's the best theme that I've come across. That's why I recommend it. And that's about it. So the total cost is around $15 to get started if you don't get the SSL, but if you do, then it would be around $35. So it's much better to build your own site because then you'll have zero listing fees. For example, some websites might charge you a listing fee to list your products, and you also have total control of what to display. So for example, you can display which reviews that you want. There's also fewer on-page distractions, so you're not listed against your competition. And you also get more overall control, and that you can actually build a brand that people remember. So people won't say, you know, I just bought it on eBay or I bought it from Amazon. They'll actually say your website name. And I also want to point out that you can also email me if you have any issues at support@hoganchua.com. But the fastest way to reach me is through YouTube comments. I normally get back to those in 24 hours. You can also follow my Facebook page. That's where I post updates. But I do recommend you actually send in your URL or at least a screenshot of your problem, as it helps me determine, you know, what's the problem and send you a fix for that. You can also press the left and right arrow keys on YouTube to rewind and fast forward. It's something that I learned just a few months ago, so I'm not sure how many of you guys do it, but for tutorials, it's really, really useful. And also, if I speak too fast or too slow, you can actually speed and slow that down by checking the speed settings on the bottom right of the video. So let's get into it. Okay, so to get your hosting and also your domain name, you can go to hostgator.com, And basically HostGator is what I use for my website, but you can actually use any host you want. Just make sure that they have an uptime guarantee, because you don't want your website not up when people actually go there. And you also want to make sure that you're able to easily install WordPress, and also look for services which provide really good support as well. But I personally wouldn't recommend any free host because they have many limitations and just not reliable in general. So what we're going to do is click on web hosting. But as you can see, there are different services up here. Personally, for beginners, I recommend just starting off with web hosting. And if you get more traffic, then you can upgrade the plans later on. So basically there are 3 different plans: the hatchling, baby, and also the business plan. Personally, I'd go for the baby because you can host unlimited domains. So basically you can have your domain, your friend's domain, and you also have the option to get the SSL certificate. So that's recommended for e-commerce. So just click on the sign up for it. So once you're here, basically you'll need to choose a domain name. So basically let's try and enter shop demo 23, and then you'll need to click on the outside here. So basically sometimes it might be taken already, so you might need to be a little bit creative with your domain name. Personally, I would recommend a .com because that's what normally people type in up here. And also if you have a domain name already, for example you might have it from Namecheap or GoDaddy or something like that, then you can enter in your domain here. But it actually won't connect to the hosting until you change the name servers. And basically all you need to do is, after you've purchased the hosting, you'll get the name servers from HostGator. Then you'll need to log into your domain registrar, for example GoDaddy, to change the name servers. And then basically you'll need to add the domain in your HostGator cPanel, and then that's basically it. Then you can follow along. Okay, so let's scroll down. Okay, so for the package type, make sure to select baby. Billing cycle, we're going to select I'm going to select 12 months because you get a bigger discount, or you can go month to month, or if you want more discount, then you can go for 36 months. Okay, so select that. Then I'm going to just type in a username and also a security pin, and then we're going to scroll down here and I'm going to enter my billing information. So maybe pause the video and enter in yours, and also your credit card details, or select PayPal if you have PayPal. Okay, so I've filled it in and I've selected PayPal, and I'm just going to select PayPal agreement here, and then I'm going to scroll down. Okay, so these are the additional services, so these are all optional. So let me explain it. So the domain privacy basically means that people can actually search up your website domain name at a website called, I think, Who Is, and they can check your name and also your email and also your address. So if you want that protected, then you have to select this option here. So basically what I would recommend is, if you're like a brick and mortar business and basically you might put the information on your website anyway, then I probably wouldn't select it. But if you're like operating from home and you want to keep all your details private, then you would select it. So for the hack alert monitoring, so basically what that does is it will scan your website for any malicious code. Personally, I wouldn't select it because you can actually use some free WordPress plugins to actually scan and keep your website safe. But if you're going to get it, then I would actually get the service after you've purchased your hosting and things, because then you can get the one which actually scans your website and also automatically cleans it. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I think that's way better. And also for the professional email, you can actually create your own email at yourdomain.com in the cPanel section, so you don't need that. Then for the site backup, I actually have a tutorial on how to back up your website using a free plugin on my channel, so you can check that out. For the HTTPS, this is basically the thing that you see here and the little green lock symbol, and you'll see a lot of e-commerce websites will have it. For example, Apple, eBay, Amazon, they all have it, because people are entering their information, for example, their shipping information, credit card details, passwords, and things like that. That's why they have the HTTPS. It helps basically secure all that data. So I personally would recommend it because you're an e-commerce store, but If you were like a blog or a website, then I wouldn't select this option here. So you can also get it afterwards, but I believe it's $29.95, so I would get it. And for the coupon code, we're going to enter shop now and then click on validate. So this will give you a bigger discount. So if you scroll back up, you'll see that you get a 40% discount as well. And also the 36 month is 60%. Okay, let's scroll back down here. You might see that they might check this again, so you might want to unselect that again. Scroll back down. So you've got your domain here, which is also cheaper, so $6, and also your hosting for 12 months. And it'll come to $124, which is around $10 a month. Okay. Once you've done that, then you can just click on I've read and agree to the terms and service. I also wanted to point out that if you do use this coupon, I will get a small commission, and it basically helps me support these tutorials. Okay, I'll be greatly appreciated, but you don't have to use it. That's it. So we're going to click on checkout now, and basically I'm just going to log in with my PayPal account and pay for that. Okay, so for some odd reason, not sure why, it was unable to process. I think you might need to select the PayPal one-time agreement instead of the pre-approved payments. So I'm going to pay the bill, and hopefully this time it'll actually work. So I'm going to scroll down and then select use PayPal and select PayPal one time and recheck these things here and then click on pay now. Or you can pay with a credit card in case. Okay, and then click on continue. Okay, so I've successfully paid for that, as you can see. And basically now you will either maybe receive a confirmation page if you pay by credit card, but you'll receive an email, which I'll go and check the emails now. So this is the email that you'll receive, and basically all you need to do is you'll need to click on the control panel URL, and that will basically take you here. And then you'll need to copy over your username and also your password to log into your cPanel, and that's where we install our WordPress. So I'm going to click on login. So this is your WordPress cPanel, and as I said before, you can actually add on the domains here. Okay, if you got your domain from somewhere else, and if you do have any issues, you can contact the HostGator live chat support. So you can just go to their homepage and it's on the top right hand side. So what we're going to do is install WordPress. All you need to do is click here, the one-click installation, and then you need to select your domain and leave the directory part empty and then click on next. Okay, so for your blog title, I'm just going to set in logo. You can change this later. Okay, so don't worry about that. Your username, this is what you log in with, your name and last name, as well as your email address. Okay, so make sure this is correct because they'll also send you their login information there as well. And then we're going to click on I accept, and we're going to click on install. Okay, so that should take a minute or so, or less than that, not sure. Okay, once the installation is complete, sometimes if you just bought your domain, it might not have propagated yet, and what that means is basically HostGator is setting your website up on the back end. Hopefully it will be up. If not, you just have to wait maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Hopefully my one is up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to copy over the password first. Okay, once you do that, then I'm also going to actually just open this in a new tab. Okay, so as you can see, it's not up yet, so it might take 15 to 20 minutes for that to actually set up. So what I'm going to do is take a little break and then come back. Okay, so I'm back and the website is up, so we can actually log in. I also wanted to point out that if you actually, for example, let's say we type in the URL here, and then you can type in WP admin, and then that will take you to the login area. So if you click on that, that will take you to the login area. So what I recommend is bookmarking that. So they'll also send you a email with your details, so you can use the password there and basically enter in the username, paste in that password, and then click on login. Okay, so we're in the WordPress dashboard. I'll be showing you how to set everything up. So I'm just going to click on I don't need help. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff popping up. I'm going to close all of these to just clean things up a little bit. I'm going to click on dismiss, close that, close those. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is go to users and click on all users. So basically users, you're able to add in new users so that, for example, you might have someone to edit your website, then you can create a username for them so they can log in with their username, and you can set in different roles as well. So we're going to click on edit for your username, and then we're going to scroll down here to the account management, click on generate password. So I'm going to set in my password, which I remember. Try to set a stronger password than me. Okay, confirm the use of weak password and update profile. So once that is done, then the password is updated. So what we're going to do now is actually go to plugins. Now plugins are basically sort of software for your website to add functionality to it. So for example, you might have applications on your phone, for example, social media apps, productivity apps. Basically plugins are the same thing, but for websites. So it does come pre-installed with a lot of plugins. What we're going to do is actually deactivate them, because sometimes it might conflict with our builder and there's just too much stuff. So I'm going to clean everything up, and I'm also going to delete them as well, but you can actually add them on later as well. Okay, so once that is done, then we can actually go and open a new tab to view our website. Okay, so as you can see, this is the default WordPress website and it looks nothing like a e-commerce store. So what we're going to do now is actually install the theme and also the required plugins. So we're going to hover over appearance and then click on themes. So what we're going to do is click on add new. Okay, so we're going to upload our own theme. So there are a lot of free themes here, but they're not really flexible and they don't have the drag and drop builder. So to upload the theme, first of all, we need to download the theme, and the theme is actually in the description down below. So make sure to download that to your computer, and also download the images to your computer as well, so you can actually follow along with the tutorial. So you'll probably get two files like this. Okay, so what I want you to do is unzip it, and then they'll become folders. And then, for example, I'll have all the images ready so you can actually follow along with the tutorial. And also the theme and also the required plugins will be in here. So what we're going to do is go back to our website and click on upload theme, choose file. So what we're going to do is find the folder, which is the shop theme and plugins, and make sure to upload themify shop.zip. Okay, make sure it's the .zip file, otherwise it's not going to upload properly. And click on open and install now. So as you can see, the progress bar is down on the left hand side bottom. If you have any issues, then you can go to hoganchua.com and then click on FAQ. So I normally list out the most commonly asked questions on my website FAQ. So you can actually go there and check out the solutions. So for example, if you have any problems installing the theme, then you can check it out. So you can scroll down to theme installation, and a common issue that people have is the upload file exceeds. So what you can do is you can follow this video tutorial where I show you how to upload the theme via your cPanel section. Okay, so what we're going to do is after you have actually installed it, then we need to actually activate it to be activated on our website. Okay, so skins and demos will actually pop out. What we're going to do is we're going to close it. Okay, make sure you close that. So as you can see, the version is 1.11. Okay, and so this is the version that we're actually using. Sometimes you might get an update. So basically it means that a new update is available, but you don't have to update. What I do recommend is that if you finish the tutorial, then you can email me at support@hoganchua.com and I'll be happy to update it for you. Okay, but you can also update it automatically with a username and password. So you can actually get the membership, which actually includes the support and updates at themify.me. And then this is the theme that we're actually using, the Themify shop theme, and you can actually purchase it for $49. You can use the coupon Hogan, and that will give you a 30% discount, so it will actually be something like $34 or something like that, and that will give you access to the updates for a year and also support. So it's actually really good if you actually want to customize your website even more, and it's just pretty useful in general. Okay, so you can get it, but I do recommend updating once you've finished the tutorial, because sometimes the buttons and things change. Okay, so what we're going to do now is let's go and add in the plugins. So we're going to click on plugins here, and then click on add new, and then we're going to upload plugin, choose file, and we're going to upload the builder WooCommerce, which is basically a plugin which helps us easily add the products onto our homepage or anywhere on our website. Click on activate, add new. So click on upload plugin again, choose file, and select the product filter zip, and click on open and install now. So basically that is the product filter that will add to our shop page, and activate that plugin. Okay, so as you can see, it's not activated yet because we actually need to install the WooCommerce plugin, and basically the WooCommerce plugin adds the e-commerce functionality to our website. Okay, so we're going to click on add new, and we're going to click on search plugins, type in WooCommerce here, and click on enter, and then we're going to click on install now, and we're also going to activate that. So it's got over 1 million installs. Make sure you get the right one. Okay, so it's going to walk you through a quick setup. We're going to click on let's go. And this is the page setup, so we'll add the required pages to your website. So we'll be able to add in additional pages later, which I'll show you. We're going to click on continue. And then we're going to set up our store location. So set in your location. I'm going to set it up to Australia and select your currency. I'm going to select yes, I'll be charging sales tax. We'll be going through the tax settings later on. So you probably just select yes, and then I will enter prices exclusive of tax. And normally it will set up with the default tax rate. Okay, so just leave that as is and then click on continue. So for the shipping, I'm just going to set it as kilos and centimeters because that's the most common measurement in Australia. Yours might be in pounds or inches. Okay, so that's optional. Click on continue. And after that, for payment, I'm going to select PayPal standard, but you can also select check payments and things like that. So for your PayPal email address, you can put it in here. If you don't have a PayPal account yet, then go to paypal.com and sign up for a PayPal business account. So you just need your basic information, and basically PayPal is really convenient because you can receive payment instantly and then you can deposit it into your bank account once you receive money. Okay, so set that up, and afterwards just put your PayPal email in here and then click on continue. I'll also be going through the payments settings later as well. Okay, so we're pretty much done. You can actually click on watch the guided video tours. So I'm going to open that in a new tab. So WooCommerce has its own video tutorials and also documentation which you can go through, but I'll be covering most of the stuff in the video anyway, so you might find it helpful for additional videos. So you can bookmark that. Okay, we're going to return to the WordPress dashboard. So with the framework versions, you can actually update that for free automatically. So you can update that now if you need to. Okay, so what we're going to do next is add in the pages, set in the navigation menu, and also set in the static home page. So once your plugins have been added and set up, then we're going to be adding in pages. So just click on pages here. And as you can see, the pages were set up by WooCommerce are here already. What we're going to do is actually delete the sample page here. This is the default page WordPress has added, and I'm going to delete it from the trash as well. So delete it permanently. and then we're going to click on add new. So the first page we're going to be adding is home. So this will be where we're going to build our home page layout, and then click on publish. We're going to click on add new, and we're going to add in the wish list page, and then click on publish. So you can add as many pages as you want. I'm going to click on add new again, and I'm going to add in the about page, but I won't be showing you how to build the layout here. It will be in another video because I didn't want to make the video too long. Click on add new, and the same for the contact page. You can add that in, and I'll show you how to build the contact page as well as add in the contact form in another tutorial. Okay, so as you can see the permalink here. So basically if you actually click that link, you'll see that it has the index.php in there. Basically we want to remove that, and to do that all we need to do is go to settings, click on permalinks, and then change it to post name. So basically you want the post name in the URL, or also the page title in the URL. You don't want it to be the index.php or even $p equals 123, because this is better for search engines and also for people as well, so they know exactly what you are talking about in that page. Alright, so once you've done that, then you can actually save the changes. And once you're done with that, then what we're going to do is actually set up the menus. So with the menus here, we're going to go to appearance and then click on menus. Okay, so we're going to click on the menu name and set in top nav for top navigation, and click on menu. And once we've done that, then you can select the pages that you want to display on your menu, which is up here. Alright, so the pages I want to select is maybe my about page, contact page, shop page, and I think that is it. Okay, so I'm going to add those 3 pages to the menu, and you can rearrange it just by dragging and dropping. And then you can also make sure that it is a drop down menu if you actually pull it in like that. So okay, so I'm going to show you an example. So select this if you want to add new pages directly to this menu. When you add new pages, that's optional. Okay, for the display location you have to set it to the main navigation though. So if you click on save menu, and if we refresh that page, then it will actually show your main menu there. And as you can see, the contact page drops down from about, okay, because you put it under as a sub item. So I'm going to put that back where it is and then save menu. So once that is done, I'm actually going to add the my account little icon up here as well, which is the icon navigation. So to do that, we need to actually create a new menu. So for this one, I might just put in icon nav. Okay, so this name is just optional. It's just for your own reference. Create menu. And so this is the my account page. Okay, so people can actually come here and log in and also register for an account where they can actually put in their details so they can check out quicker. Once you've done that, click on add to menu and simply just select icon navigation. Okay, but I also want to click here on the down arrow and I want to insert an icon. Okay, so as you can see, there's icons here. I want to insert like a little person. Click on themify here. Okay, so as you can see, there's tons of different icons, but I'm going to click on the themify one and let's look for the user icon. Okay, click that in there, and then what we're going to do is save the menu. So if that is set in there, then if we refresh the page, then it should appear next to the heart thing. Okay, so once that is done, we'll actually need to set in a static home page. So basically, if you actually type in home here, you'll be directed to your home page that you just created. So we want to set that home page to just be our domain name. Okay, so you want people to go to your home page just by typing your domain name. So to do that, click on the customize option up here. And as you can see, it will be automatically directed here to themify options. Click on the back arrow and click on static home page or static front page, sorry, click on a static page and set that to your home page there, okay, and save and publish, and then close it. Okay, so basically, as you can see, your domain name.com, it will be directed to your homepage, which is where we will be building our homepage layout and adding the featured products. All right, so basically right now I'm going to show you how to add the social links and also go through the Themify settings, so basically changing the appearance of the layouts and also the pages. All right, so let's just go to our dashboard section, and then we're going to go to Themify shop and click on Themify settings. What we're going to do is I'm going to scroll down, okay, make sure you're on the general tab, scroll down. So there's a lot of settings here, but I just want to go through the most important ones. So for your Google fonts, click on show all Google fonts, so you'll be able to select more fonts, and then click on save, and then click on the default layouts. Okay, scroll up here, so you'll see the default archive post layout. So this is for your post layouts, which is for your blog post if you add in blog post. Okay, so we're not going to be going through that in this video. I'll go through that in another video, but this is actually where you change the default layout of that those posts. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to the default page layout, and what I'm going to do is actually open it in a new tab so we know what's going on. So for example, this is our home page and we're setting in the default page layout for it. So what I want to do is select no sidebar and also hide the title in all the pages. And I also want to disable the page comments, okay? And as you can see, this is the title, this is the sidebar, and if we set those settings in, click on save, and if we refresh it, then it would disappear. Okay, so basically this gives you a blank canvas every time you create a new page. So you can actually create whatever layout you want using the Themify builder. Okay, so once you've done that, click on the theme settings, scroll back up. So for most of these, just keep them as defaults, but you can edit them later. For the theme appearance, so we're actually able to set in different header designs. We're able to select all these different options, but personally, as a e-commerce store, I recommend either option 1, 2, or header stripe option here, because it's just really good user experience to have your navigation bar on the top. So for the sticky header, and if you disable the sticky header, this basically means, for example, if you're scrolling down, then the header stays there as a sticky. Okay, so if you disable it, then basically the header won't scroll down with you. Alright, so personally, I'm just going to keep it as is. You can also exclude the site logo and the tagline here, which is that, which I might do. So I might exclude that site tagline. You can also exclude the search icon here, and also the menu navigation. I'm going to leave those as is. So for your footer design, you can also edit the footer design as well. So personally, I'm just going to keep it as default, but this is where you can actually change it. Alright, so I'm going to exclude the site logo and leave everything as is. You might want to exclude the back to top button, but I think that's pretty cool. When you press it, it scrolls back up. Okay, and then we're going to scroll down. Now for the footer text section, so as you can see, it has powered by WordPress and Themify WordPress themes. You might want to disable that. Okay, so to do that, all you need to do is hide footer text 2. So footer text 1 is this thing here, so I'm going to keep it, and then I'm going to click on save, and then I'm going to go back here and refresh. So we've removed the logo, and we'll also remove the powered by WordPress. Okay, so that's nice and cool. Then what we're going to be doing is click on shop settings. So your shop settings is basically editing the layout for your shop page here, but we haven't set any products in yet, so I'm going to be walking you through later on so you know exactly what each of the functions do. Alright, we're going to click on image script, and I want to disable this, okay, because I want to be uploading the images which are cropped already. So I want to disable that and make sure this is set to original. and then click on save. So for your social links, you can click on that, and basically you can open up all your profiles. For example, my Twitter. Okay, you just copy in your URL, and let's just paste the link into there. Okay, that's all you need to do. You can also change the icon color here, but I'm going to leave it as default because we're going to be putting the links down below here, and we'll be changing the color for the footer links together. Okay, so just leave it as default as is. For Facebook, I'm going to copy that, and you can also follow my Facebook. This is where I mostly post updates. All right, paste that into there. If you don't have a Google Plus account, you don't have to enter a link and it won't show up. For YouTube, I'm going to grab my channel URL, just copy that, paste that in there, and also you can follow that for more videos. Pinterest, I don't have a Pinterest, but let's just say you have an Instagram. You can click on the add link and type in Instagram, and then for your link, I'm going to copy my Instagram profile, so you can follow me if you like, but I won't be posting any website stuff on there. It's just general what I do besides making tutorials. All right, let's paste that into there. For the icon, we can click on insert icon. Okay, so there's a bunch of brand icons here, so you can be adding in other accounts which you have as well. Okay, so I'm just going to type in Instagram here. All right, and click on Instagram, and that will basically add it in. So what we're going to do is click on save. So once we've saved that, then we actually need to set it into the footer section, right? So what we need to do is we need to hover over appearance and click on widgets. And basically these are the available widgets which we can add to the widget areas. So for example, we're going to grab the Themify social links, and we're going to grab that widget and put it below footer logo widget. Okay, and because these links are external pages, I'm going to open the link in a new window. For the icon size, I'm just going to keep it default and then save. Okay, once we've done that, if we actually refresh it, then it should show up like that. Okay, which is awesome. And for the footer widget 1, footer widget 2, footer widget 3, you can add in all sorts of widgets and they will show up here. So footer widget 1 will be here, 2 will be here, 3 will be there as well. Okay, so I'll also make another tutorial where I'll show you how to make a advanced footer so you can add different pages, links and stuff like that. All right. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go through some really important design techniques, and only after that I'll show you how to build the layout for the home page, because I think it's really important to understand it first, so you know why I do the things I do. All right. So for those of you who actually got the SSL certificate from HostGator, you should receive an email within 24 hours that they have activated the SSL for your website. Okay, so if you haven't got that, then you can contact them, but you should have that installed onto your website. But as you can see, if it's been 24 hours and you don't see that sign which says the HTTPS or that lock icon, then you can actually download a special plugin to display that. So if we go to our dashboard section, and if we go to plugins and then click on add new, and then here we're going to search for a plugin. I think it's called Really Simple SSL, and then click on enter. So we're going to install this one by Roger. Okay, so click on install now, and then what we're going to do is activate it. And then once that is done, then I think you can just go to the settings here, and then as you can see, detected setup, you'll see that an SSL certificate was detected on your website, and then what you can do is go ahead and actually activate the SSL. Okay, so that has been activated, and let's go and refresh and see how that goes. Okay, awesome. So as you can see, it logged me out, but basically you have the secure icon as well as the HTTPS thing appear for your website now. Okay, so I'm just gonna log in. Okay, all good. So I've compiled a web design guide on my website. You can come here at hoganchua.com, hover over resources and click on it here. Okay, so I wanted to go through this because people don't really have that much issue with the technical part of building the website, but since I've seen a lot of websites, because people have asked me to solve problems, the websites don't really look professional, and I think that's a really important thing that you need to actually ensure, okay? Because if it's not professional, then people are going to click off your website and you're not going to make any sales. So I don't really want to create a tutorial which just shows you how to do everything step by step, but I also wanted to ensure that you actually will become successful and actually sell stuff. So this is really important, and that's why I wanted to cover it in this video. So if you click on the contents, you can actually click on each of those things and it'll skip down to each of the sections, which you can refer to after. So the first thing I want to talk about is I recommend sticking to one font family, and because you are beginning, it's really important to make sure that everything is consistent. And a lot of people choose too many fonts, which I think is just too much because you don't really need it. For example, Apple only has one font family they use. So you can download the plugin or Chrome extension called WhatFont, and you can check out websites. You can also go to Amazon, and they're using the most basic one, Arial. Okay, so you don't need anything fancy. I would focus on readability rather than being fancy. So there are two different typefaces. One is called sans serif and the other is called serif. So the difference here is, as you can see, the edges are plain and the strokes are also even width. So it actually appears more clean and modern, and most websites that you see these days are using the sans serif typeface. For example, Apple, that's sans serif, Amazon, that's sans serif as well. Okay, so for the serif typeface, they have curves on the edges and also thick and thin strokes. For example, thin here and thicker strokes there. Okay, so these websites are a little bit more traditional and elegant. For example, this website here, they use the serif typeface in the navigation and also within the content itself. So it looks a little bit more handcrafted, sort of. So if that's what you want your brand to represent, then serif is a good typeface to choose. But if you just want sort of like a simple website, then I recommend just sticking with sans serif. And the font that we're using for this tutorial is Libre Franklin, but also a really good one if you don't know which one to choose is Open Sans, and these are some other good ones here as well. So serif typeface is also really good for long reading. For example, if you have a lot of content, for example a blog on your website, then setting the blog post to the serif typeface is also a good idea because the lines sort of guide the eye a little bit. Okay. And the second thing is making sure that your body font size is readable. So you don't want to change your body font size to something like this, which I see a lot of people do. You want to make sure it's between 15 to 25, but I think 16 to 18 is pretty good, really readable. You don't want it to be too big because it just looks really silly. But if it's like a headline or sub-headline, that doesn't really have any limit, okay? But you want to make sure your body text is readable. Now the third thing is the line length. You want to keep it between 45 and 90 characters long per line, so it's an easy read. You don't want to go from one side to the other, okay? Because it just makes you feel like, whoa, there's a lot of text, okay? You don't want that. Otherwise people are just gonna, skip everything and not read it, and yeah, that's just bad, right? And also be consistent with capitals. So uppercase words will actually slow people down by 10%, so I wouldn't use it for the content or any sort of long headings. I would recommend it if maybe your heading was like 1 or 2 words or something like that. Navigation menus, you can use it for that, and also buttons. So normally I would stick to using sentence case most of the time. So basically a capitals to start it off, and then for the rest of it it's just lowercase. So for example, Amazon, you've got just sentence case here, right? So I think that's just more friendly as well. And the title case, you can use that for your blog post titles and also your product titles. So your product titles on your shop page, okay? So Product titles, capital, capital, that is title case. All right, so you want to make sure that is consistent for all your products. So it makes sure that your website is just really professional and really polished. And then for your headlines and subheadlines, you want to make sure you define hierarchy by reducing the size and also the font weights and also the color. Okay, you don't have to use all of these, but you just want to make sure that the headline is like stands out, because that's the most important thing. You don't want it to be like this where it's sort of like you don't know which thing to focus on. So if you look on like websites like Apple's website, headline, subheadline, it just looks really nice. Or here, which is bold, and then the subheadline is not bold. All right, so that is really important to make a website really polished. Now, I recommend using a lot of neutral colors, especially for separation of content. For example, this divider line, and also, so PayPal actually uses it as well, and a lot of professional websites will use it. For example, here it's a white background, but you'll see a neutral sort of background, a gray background for it, because it separates the content. And if you scroll down, they also use their main color to separate content, and then they use the gray again. And then you're scrolling down, they use a dark gray here, scroll down, and then they use a gray again. So it's really useful to separate content, and also for your headers and footers. So for example, your header section up there and also your footers, using neutral colors is really good, and also using the colors when you don't know which color to use. But at the end of the tutorial, I'll also be covering how to choose colors and apply it to your website. So don't worry too much about that for now. So another really important thing is actually adding text over images. The first thing I recommend is actually focus on relevance. You want to pick the most relevant image to your business and brand. So personally, I would recommend getting images done by a professional photographer, so you can get really nice branded images for your business, and you can also get them to do your product images as well. If you actually need to choose images like from free websites such as Unsplash, which I'll show you in a second, make sure to pick an image where you can actually apply text over easily. Okay, sometimes it may not be easy to find the right image, but you can actually edit it to make sure that the text is really visible. So you need to add in like an overlay color, which I'll show you. And you can also use different methods where you just move the image a little bit and then move the text as well. So as you can see, you can't really see that white text. So if you move it on the left hand side, then you can easily see it. Okay, you can also blur the image. Now this is really good if you want to add a lot of text, because it blurs the details and it makes the text in front stand out more. Okay, so you can check out these examples, and I'll also try to make videos to show you how I did it as well using the builder. And PayPal does it really well. So as you can see, they added gradient, and then for this part where they want it to stand out, they put a white background on top of that. Okay, also a neutral color. So the next thing is how to set in button colors. So this is something that you probably didn't really pay attention to, but it's also really important as well. So let's say you hover over a button. As you can see, it goes darker a little bit. Now, a lot of websites, they use the formula where it goes darker, and sometimes they might use it, for example, it might go lighter as well. So there's this formula that I will show you in a second, and basically it will keep everything consistent so your website is professional. And also your images should be cropped before you actually upload it to your website. So for example, sometimes if you upload it directly from your camera, it might be just like a huge image and your website's going to load super slow. So you don't want your website to load super slow, because people are just going to click off your website. So this is a basic image guide that I created, and to explain it, basically if you want an image about this size on your website, then this is the approximate size that you can crop it to. Alright, so I made one for medium images, large images, and also hero images. I'll show you how to crop a hero image. The product images, I will walk you through this when we're adding in our products. Alright, so right now we're going to start building the homepage. So for your homepage hero image, what I personally recommend is actually hiring a photographer, or if you're good at taking photos, then just do it yourself for your business. That way it's way more relevant and it looks more authentic. But you can actually go to a website called unsplash.com, and they have free images which are really high quality that you can use for commercial and also personal purposes, and you don't need to credit them. Okay, so what I recommend is choosing a really good image where you can put the text over really easily. For example, this one is really good because you can add it on top here. This one's not too bad, but something that is sort of more detailed like that, it might actually not be as good. So try pick one which you can easily add text over, for example this one. So basically, if you've been following along, I've already included the image in the images folder, but if you want to choose your own, then you can choose it here. Okay, another really popular site is called the stocks.im, and basically it compiles all the free image websites as well, so you can check out them here, and also video backgrounds as well. Okay, so download an image onto your computer, just click on that button there and that will download. Okay, let's go to photo.com. This is basically where you can edit your images. Click on edit. Okay, we're gonna click on open computer, and let's look for that image. Okay, so I have the uncropped version here of our hero image, and you can click on that, or you can just use your own image. But I just wanted to show you how I crop it, and you can use this software to help you crop all the other images on your website as well. So click on got it, skip all tutorials actually, close that. So as you can see down here, this is the size of the image, and that is really big. So we want to resize it. Click on resize. Make sure the lock is selected here. So once you put in the number here, it'll actually resize the height of it proportionally to the width of it. Okay, so click on apply. Once that is applied, you'll see the change in the size here, and then click on crop, and the size that we're going to crop it to is about 1800, and also about a height of 1000. Okay, so basically drag it to where it's most suitable for you to put the text, so somewhere like that, and then click on apply, and then you can actually click on one tap enhance, which basically will actually enhance the photo a little bit. And you can also click on the basic settings to adjust it, so you can adjust the sharpness and things like that. You can also click on effects. Okay, so you can add in different filters to your image as well, so you can play around with that, but I'm just gonna save it now. And just name your image properly, so name it like hero image 1800 times 1000, and you also want to save it as JPG, and you might want to save it as high quality, but all you need to do is log into your Facebook account, or you can create a new account if you do want that. And then that will download basically to your computer, and then we can actually go to our homepage. So what we need to do is, I recommend refreshing the website first, so the builder will actually show you the live preview. So let's click on turn on builder. Okay, so this is a row, and you can click on the row options here. And what we want to do for the row width, we want to change it to full width row container, so it goes all the way across. If you change the full width content, then the content area will actually go to the sides as well. But I personally just select full width row container, and then I click on styling. Now for the background image, this is where you can upload the image. Make sure to click on browse library instead of upload, because WordPress will automatically crop your image. So click on browse library and then select files. So we want to find the file from your computer. So let's say we want this image, which I cropped before. Click on open, and then that will upload to your website, and then insert that file URL. For the background mode, we actually want to set it to full cover. You can also set it to parallax scrolling, which is kind of cool as well, but I generally set it to full cover. And for the background position, I'm going to center it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here, and as you can see, you can't really see the full image, so we need to add some spacing. you want to click on deselect that and set the spacing to 17.5%. And the bottom, you want to set it to be the same as well, 17.5. So that way you can see the image more. We'll also be adding some text in the middle, so it's going to stretch it out even more. So once that is done, then you can scroll back up here, and you can also select a gradient background. So you can select the different colors and gradients. You can play around with that, as well as adding in a video background. I personally recommend uploading a video to YouTube first, and then paste in your YouTube URL here. That way it actually loads a lot quicker, and you can disable the audio as well. And for the slider, all you need to do is insert the gallery and upload the files. Select the files, for example this one, and this one. And then once you've uploaded that, for the image size you want to set it to original image, and for the background slider mode you want to set it to full cover. So make sure those are the settings. As you can see, you can't really set in different text for each image. To do that, I recommend using a plugin called Smart Slider 3. So it's a free plugin, and hopefully I'll make another video on that as well. But I wanted to really show you how to use the Themify builder. So I'm just going to select a default image. I personally prefer just one because it loads a lot quicker rather than loading 3 images. So once that is done, then I'm going to click on here, and then I'm going to click on this lock icon to set it there so it doesn't move. And then we're going to drop a text module. Now for the text, you want to type in your heading, okay, e-commerce. I'm going to set it to heading 1. Okay, so the reason why we set it to heading 1 is because it's good for SEO purposes. So when Google actually scans your entire website, they look for the source code, and if it's under the heading 1 tag, that means that it's basically like the title of your website. It will give whatever keyword in here more importance, so they actually know, you know, what content your website is actually talking about, and that way they actually determine your ranking. And of course, you know, you'll need to have backlinks and all that other stuff, but this is the basics of on-page search engine optimization. All right, and it's also good to keep things consistent. So anytime you want this size and this font for your headings, then all you need to do is select heading 1 rather than setting the sizes manually. I wanted to point out you can actually change the heading 1 font here, but we don't want to do that. We want to actually edit the heading 1 font universally. So that's when we actually go to the customize section, and I think that is way more convenient in the long term, because anytime you set the heading 1 font, you don't have to set it here again. It'll automatically apply to all the heading 1 fonts. So don't worry about that too much. I'll walk you through that. Anyways, you can actually go to the general tab here, and we can text align everything to the middle, just like that. For the color, you can set it here to white, and then click on save. And because that is a text module, what we can do is, if you want to add the sub headline, you can actually duplicate the module. Okay, so that's 2 modules there, and you can double click on that module, and we're going to add in the sub headline. So for example, create a beautiful online store for your business, something like that. And then what we can do is go to styling. For the font, as you can see, the settings have been saved previously already, but I do want to change it to 24 pixels for the size, and I think that is it. So save it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Then we're going to scroll down here and then click on the button and drag that in. So for the button text, what we're going to do is type in shop now, okay, or whatever text you want to put in there. For the link, we're going to link it to our shop page. So what I normally do is just copy the domain name, and paste it into there, and then type in shop. Okay, so we haven't built the shop page yet, but that is the URL for your shop page. Okay, so copy your domain and then type in shop. Okay, just leave those as default. Now you can select the button style as well. So generally I recommend either circle, rounded, or squared, but you can also select the outline, but as you can see, it's not very visible and I don't really recommend it. Let's click on rounded. Let's click on styling as well. You want to make sure to click on button link, because you want to edit the button only. You don't want to edit the module. So for example, if let's say we add a background color. Okay, that's going to add it to the module. All right, you don't want to add it to the module, you want to add the button link. Okay, so as I said before with the button hover colors, what you need to do is go to a website called 0 to 255. So once you're there, click on enter a color. Okay, so if we look at the background, this depends on your own background. My background is kind of light, so to make the button stand out, I'm going to choose a darker button color. Okay, so the button color that I'm going to choose is 3 6s, okay, which is a dark gray as a neutral color. Click on enter. Again, if your background is a dark one, then you might select a lighter neutral color. So once we have that, you can copy that there, paste in the color there. Okay, that will change for the background color. Now for the background hover, we're going to either select 2 shades darker here or 2 shades lighter. So this really depends on your preference and also on the background as well. The main purpose of it is to ensure that people know that they're actually hovering over a button so that they can click it. So whatever is more visible, then just use that one. So you can also choose 3 shades lighter or 3 shades darker, just as long as you keep everything consistent throughout your entire website, then it's fine. So I might choose this one, paste that into there like that. And for the color of the link, I'm going to choose to be white like that, and also the color hover to be white as well. Text decoration, you want to select none, and I think that is it. So if we actually save it, okay, so as you can see the button is here, we can actually move it to the middle using the button styling and texting align it to the middle here. But I also want to show you that you can do it for the row options as well. So you can click on styling and basically set the text align to the middle. Now what that does is it moves everything within this row into the middle. So any of the settings that you set in here will control this entire row only. So for example, if you drag the button thing down to the new row, it actually won't apply. All right. So you actually need to set in the row options here again and set that to be in the middle. All right. So once we've put that in, then let's just save it and close the builder. So what we need to do is actually move the whole entire row up, ensuring there is no space there. To do that, we need to click on edit page. Okay, and then scroll down to themify custom panel, set the content width to full width, and then update. Okay, so I also wanted to point out, if you scroll down to the custom panel, if you click on the page appearance, you're able to set in the header design and all the other settings, for example, the footer design as well, specific for this page only. So what that is useful for is sometimes you might want to build a landing page and you might not need a header, or you might not need a footer, then you can select no footer and no header. All right, so let's go back to our home page. Okay, so as you can see, that's moved up. So what we're going to do now is edit the heading 1 font universally. Click on customize, and then I'll show you how to move this text up a little bit as well. So once you're at the themify options, make sure you've selected the advanced tab, which gives you more options, and then you should see the headings tab. Click on heading 1 font, which is the one that we're editing, and the size that I'm going to set in is 95, so that's a good size. And the font that I'm going to set in is Libre Franklin. And then for the font weight, I'm going to set it to be around bold, I think. Okay, so that looks good. And then I would personally not edit anything, for example, these ones down here, and also the colors, because if you set a heading 1 font somewhere else, then it might automatically align it to some other place where you don't want it to align. So only edit the size, line height, and also the font weight here. Okay, then just save and publish and close the options. Okay, so if you actually want to move this text up a little bit, then I'll show you how to do that, and I'll also show you how to add in a overlay color, so to make your text stand out a little bit more. So we can turn on the builder, and then we're going to click on this text module, double click on that, go to styling, and scroll down to margin, deselect apply to all. Now we're going to minus the bottom part some space, so -2%, oops, minus 2% like that. That will be good, or you can set it to 1%, that really depends. That looks alright, and then we're going to click on save. Then we're going to click on the row options here, click on the styling. Now for the row overlay, we're going to add in an overlay color like that, and then you want to set it down to about 15% or 10% depending on your image. And for the overlay hover, this is when you actually hover over the image, then you can set it to that specific color. In this case, I might want it to be maybe 5%, so maybe lighter, something like that. And you can also select a gradient overlay as well. Just click on that option and select it in. Save it, and close it, and hopefully that will be cool. Alright. And you can also add in animation effects if you want to as well. So I'll just quickly show you guys just some really cool stuff. Click on edit here, animation. For example, you can set that to, let's say, fade in, like that. And then you want your other one to fade in as well. So fade in, but this time you want it to delay a little bit. Okay, so 0.5 seconds delay. And then for the button as well, animation, set that to fade in as well, 1 second delay. Alright, and you can also, let's say you accidentally move something, you can also click on the undo button, and you can also redo and undo. So let's say we finished our hero image, then you can actually save as revision. So basically hero image done, and if you make any big mistakes, then you can actually click back here and reload that revision as well. You can also save as layouts. So for example, if you want to build a similar page and you don't want to rebuild everything, then you can actually save it here and then just name it a title. And then what you can do is go to your new page and load that layout. So you don't have to start all over again. And if you want to create like a completely new domain and a new website, you can also export the layout as a zip file and basically import that onto your new page as well. So pretty much all done. Now what I'm going to show you is how to add in your products. Alright. So before we actually add in our products, I actually want to show you how to edit some image settings. Otherwise the images uploaded will be really blurry on your shop page. So let's go back to our dashboard area. And then you want to hover over WooCommerce. You want to click on settings. So for example, if you guys have added in your products already, then what you'll actually need to do is download a plugin called Regenerate Thumbnails, and it has over 1 million installs, and you'll need to install and activate it. And then you'll need to go to tools, and here they'll show you a regenerate thumbnails option, and then you'll need to regenerate the thumbnails after you've done the settings that I'm going to show you now. So click on the products tab, then click on display, and then scroll down. So for your product images, for your catalog images, we want to set it to be 400, and for the height you want to set it to 320. For the single product image you want to set it to 720 and 456, and for the product thumbnails you want to set it to 150 and 150, and you also want to disable the hard crop because it's gonna hard crop your images out and you don't want that. So we're just gonna save the changes, and once we've done that you want to go to the settings here and then click on media. Now for the medium size you want to change that to 400, for the max height 400, and then save changes. Okay, so the product image sizes, the one that you upload, should be cropped to around 800 times 800 pixels. Okay, so it's sort of like a square. It can be 700 times 800 or something similar, but just make sure that all the images you upload are the same. Okay, and you also want to make sure that it's proportional. Okay, so it's actually zoomed in correctly for all the images. So you don't want one to be different, you want them all to be like this. Okay. And then I also recommend using a white background because the image size will be smaller. That means load times will be faster. But if you want, you can also add in other images for your product gallery. So basically on the shop page, it'll be a white background, but when they click into that image, then you can actually display your image like in the house or something like that, so people can imagine what that product will look like in their room. Okay, and then that's it. So let's go back to our dashboard area, and you want to hover over the products, okay, and then just click on add new. So it's fairly simple. What you'll need to do is set in a product name. So the first one that we're going to do is the black dress. Now this section is for the long description. Now I've basically typed out the long description on my web design guide on my website. So I'm just going to directly copy that into here and paste that in. So as you can see, I also recommended some books, for example, The Everything Store, which is about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, and also Delivering Happiness. I think these two books are really eye-opening because you get some really interesting information that will inspire you to sort of build a better business. So I highly recommend that and to check it out. So then we're going to scroll down to the product data. So for this section here, you want to select simple product, and then for your regular price, you want to set it in. So for example, 129. Sale price, it might be 89. You can also schedule it as well. Then click on inventory tab. You can set in an SKU, which is a specific identifier for that product, but if you don't have that many, then you probably don't need it. For manage stock, then you can click that, and then you can set in a stock quantity, for example 5, and you can also allow or not allow back orders. Then for your shipping, this is basically the weight of the actual product which people will receive. So you want to set that in because you want to let people know. And the dimensions, set that in as well, 30 centimeters times 30 times 3. And then for the linked products, upsells and cross-sells. So basically upsells is related products which will appear below your products on your product pages. Okay, so basically you might have a more profitable item, or you might have something similar, then that is where you can actually search for that product. Okay, so as you can see, we haven't added any products in yet, but once you have, then you can search for that product and set that in to appear below this black dress product. All right, so for the cross sells, this is basically your products which will appear in the checkout section. So basically, let's say you have a camera, a nice cross sell might be a memory card or camera batteries. So that is basically where you can actually set it in. All right, so for attributes, that is for the variable products, which I'll walk you through in a sec. Advanced options, so you can add a purchase note. So the purchase note will appear in the order email, which people will get, okay? And you can also enable reviews as well. So the short description, I'm just gonna copy it from my website here. So you can include a summary of your products, or you might even include shipping information, how long that will actually take. And if it's a clothing, you might have a size guide, so you link it to a size guide. And to link it, you just select the text, and then you click on insert link, click on the gear icon, and then link it to whatever page that you have the size guide on, okay? And then you can select open link in a new tab, which I recommend, and then click on update. All right. Now for this one here, you might want to change the color. So to change the color, as you can see, there's no color option thing here. You want to make sure you toggle that toolbar, and you can select the color here. So I'm going to select a custom color. So I'm going to use this color code here because it's the same as the stock count color, and you'll see why in a moment. Delete that space. Click on OK. Then let's scroll back up here. You want to add a category for your product, for example, dresses, and click on add new. For your product tags, it might be the brand of dress. You might have maybe the color of dress, okay, or maybe the material of the dress, and then you can separate it by commas and then click on add. So that will add 2 tags there. And then for the product image, you want to set and select upload files, select files. Now go to the images that you have downloaded from the description below, and then click into the product images. Okay, so there I will have all the images for you to upload and follow along. So I'm just going to select all of them and upload them all together. Select the black dress and then click on set product image. Now if you have additional images, you might have it on different angles, or you might have her in a different background, then you can add in additional images here. Okay, so pretty much is done. Then what we can do is just click on publish, and we'll view that image and see what that looks like. So I'm just going to right click and open that product in a new tab. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Image is nice and crisp, and you can click on that and then they can zoom in like that. And as you can see here, the green text is the same here, so it all matches and is consistent. I'll show you how to configure this page later, don't worry about that. Okay, looking good. So now what I'm going to show you is adding in a variable product. Alright, so just click on add new here. Now we're going to type in jumper, and then I'm going to go here and copy my long description again. Just copy that and paste that into here. Scroll down. For the product data, you want to select variable product. Okay, then for the inventory, you can also set in the unique identifier. For manage stock, you probably want to manage it individually. For shipping, since they are pretty much the same, then you can set in the weight of the product here, 30, and maybe 4 centimeters. Then your linked products. So basically, let's say you want to link the black dress, then you can search it up like that and it should appear, as I said before, but we're not going to link. So then we're going to click on the attributes. Okay, we're going to add in the attributes, and then we'll set up the variations. So we're going to click on add. Okay, so this is, for example, the color. Okay, so we have a green jumper. Now what we need to select is the pipe symbol, and to do that you need to click on the shift and also the / button on your keyboard. So it should be above your enter button and below your delete button. So it looks something like that. So green, purple, and then another pipe symbol, gray, and select use for variations, save as attributes, and another variation would be sizes. So we'll need to click on add again and then type in size. So we're going to have small, pipe symbol, M, pipe symbol, and large one. Click on use for variations, save attributes. Okay, so once you've added in the different attributes, you can add as many as you want. Then we need to create the variations. So click on variations here, and then click the tab here and create variations from all attributes. Select go, and it will create all the variations that you set. So click on OK. Click on OK. Okay, so as you can see, you've got the gray option with all the different sizes, purple with all different sizes, green with all different sizes. So you need to click on the down arrow, and if you click here, you can upload specific images. So click on that and look for the gray jumper, and then set variation image. So for example, the large size I might charge $89, and you can also manage stock here by clicking this item here, and you can set in specific sale prices and specific sizes and even specific descriptions for each and every product that you have here, but I'm going to leave them as default. Alright, so we're going to click on the next one. Then what you need to do is select the jumper again. Now the price might be a little bit cheaper because it's medium, $79. Scroll down to gray, enter that in, and then this one might be $69. Alright, so I'm going to quickly do that for the rest of these. So selecting the purple jumper and also the green jumper and setting in the specific prices. So I'm going to quickly do that now. Okay, so I'm done, and then just click on save changes. Then we're going to add in the short description. So I'm just going to go back here and copy that over. Paste that into there, change the color, enter in the color code from my website, copy that, paste it into there and click on OK. Alright, so we need to set in the categories. Click on that. Jumpers, add category. So for the tags, we're going to select brand of jumper, or maybe cotton jumper as well. And then click on add. For the product image, you want to set that in. And this is the default image that will appear on your shop page. So I might choose the green one. Set that in, and you can also set in additional gallery images as well. So what we can do is I'm going to publish it now, and then I'm going to open the product in a new tab. So as you can see, if you actually change the color option and also change the prices will change like that, and same with the color of the jumpers. Alright, so if you want people to actually arrive at your product and have a default option set in, then you can go back to your product, the jumper product, scroll down to variations, and you can set in the default form values to be whichever you want. So this one might be green, and to set it to medium, click on update, and let's say if we refresh the product page, then it should show the default form values there. Alright, so that is pretty much it. We've set in the simple and also the variable product, and I just want to quickly run through how to set up the downloadable. Okay, so it's fairly simple. Let's just say we go to add new again. Okay, so scroll down here. You can do everything the same. All you need to do for a downloadable is select the downloadable tab, and because it's downloadable, it's not shippable, so you need to select virtual, and then you just upload your files as well as setting in the download limits and things like that. Now if it's just a virtual item, for example logo design services, then you'll deselect downloadable and then just do that. Okay, so for the advanced option, what you might do is you might leave a note. For example, if it's a logo design service, you might actually create a specific form for them. So basically I created a form on woofu.com, and it's basically like a little brief that I want people to fill out. Okay, so then what I'll do is just copy the URL and then paste it into here and say thank you for the purchase, please fill in this form here. So people will actually get the purchase note in their order confirmation. Alright, so that's pretty much it. There's not much to it, and just basically set everything as before. So what I'm going to do now is pretty much add in the rest of the products. Basically you can go to this demo website, which I will have created. Then you can just check out what I've typed in if you want to copy everything as is, or what I suggest is you just add in your own products and things like that. If you have any questions, make sure to just drop it down below in the comment section. Alright, so once you've added in all your products, then you can click on all products here, and your products will be all listed here, and you can click to edit them or anything like that if you need to. And if you actually visit our store, hover over your little house thing here and right click open in a new tab, and your store should look something like this. All the images should be crisp. If they are not, then maybe you need to regenerate the thumbnails as I said before. So what we're going to do now is add the products to the home page. Alright, so all we need to do is go and visit our home page, and then we're going to be turning on the builder. Scroll down to the second row here. What we're going to do is add in a text module. So this will be a title for featured products. So it could be your featured products or specific category products or most popular products. It doesn't really matter what you name it. I'm going to set it to heading 2, and then I'm going to bold it a little bit like that. And what I'm also going to do is, because I'm going to set in the products below here, I want to add a little bit of spacing between the text and also the products. So I'm going to go to styling, scroll down to padding, deselect. For the bottom padding, I'm going to set around 3% or 2%. You can see what's best for your website. Click on save. And then I also want to add some spacing between the text here and the hero image, and also align it to the center. So click on the row options, styling, scroll here, And since we're here, text align it to the middle. Scroll down to the padding, deselect that. For the top padding, I'm going to add maybe 3%. And also the same for the bottom, 3% as well. Save it, and then we're done. Scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see the WooCommerce Builder module. If you don't see that, then make sure to install the WooCommerce plugin and install and activate it. So you need to go back to the plugin section. Okay, so let me walk you through one important thing first. So just watch this part. I'm going to set the product to 8. And then I'm going to order by price, set it to ascending. I'm going to change that to grid 4. Okay, so I'm going to save it, and then close it. Refresh the page. Okay, so as you can see, the product here, the title of the product takes up 2 lines because it's super long. So as you can see, it moves everything down, and the second row will be moved down as well. So if you want everything to be aligned like in one line, then what I suggest you do is to disable the masonry layout. So most of the time you might have only 4 products and you might not have a second row, and then you don't need to do that. Or you can just make sure to keep the titles really short or change the title size to be a little bit smaller, then you wouldn't have the problem. But if you can't solve it using those solutions, then you can disable the masonry layout. Go back here, and for masonry layout, select no. And hopefully if we select yes, and then save it, close it. Okay, so right now what happens is it adds the space for the rest of the products here. All right, and the second row is also aligned all evenly. So let's go turn on the products, and I'll show you some more of the features of the module. Click on that. So you can select specific categories to be displayed. I'll also show you how to add specific featured products onto your homepage in about a minute or so. You can select on sale and also top rated as well. So for me, I'm going to set in 4 products for the homepage. And for the layout, I'm going to select grid 4. It's nice and simple. Or you can use the slider as well, and you can play around with the settings. For example, for the slider options, you might want to display 3. And for the slider pagination, you can hide that, which is these little dots. For the arrows, you can hide that as well. So I'm just going to go set it back quickly to list. Now for the content layout, for example, overlay, what happens is the add to cart, everything disappears. And basically what will happen is when you hover over the item, the add to cart and also the name of the product will actually overlay on top of the product. So the Polaroid is also similar, but I'm just going to keep it as default. The post gutter is the spacing in between the products, so you can change it to no, and everything will basically stick together if we do that. Okay, so there's less spacing in between. I'm just going to keep it as default. So basically you can play around with these settings here and see which one you like best to actually display for your website. So right now I'm going to set in the featured products. So I might click on featured products here and click on save, and let's save it and close the builder. We need to go to our dashboard, and we need to go to products, all products. Okay, so you can see the little star icon here. All you need to do is to select the star icon and wait for it to actually save, and it will become solid. So that's a featured product now. So I'm going to select maybe a few more. This one here. And then I'm going to select one more, maybe a dress. Okay, so once that is done, we're going to go back to our home page. And then basically the featured products will show up there. Okay, so basically that's it, and you can actually add the WooCommerce module to any page. So you might want to create other product pages, and then you can add it in as well. All right, so what we're going to do now is actually go to our shop page and basically configure the shop page layout and also add in the product filter. The first thing we want to ensure is the product filter being on. So we need to go to dashboard and we need to ensure that the plugin is actually activated. Alright, so we need to activate it here, and then it should show up on the product filter, and then it should show up here. Alright, so we need to click on product filters and we need to add a new one. We're going to set in a title, so shop page perhaps. So for these settings here, I'm just going to leave it as defaults. You can come back and adjust them, but I like them just the way they are. So what we're going to do first is drop in a product title. So this is basically a search. Okay, so I'm going to type in a field title and I'm going to name it search. And the next one I'm going to put in is maybe a price widget there. And I'm going to display it as a slider, or you can display it as a range where you enter in the price. I'm also going to put in a category. Okay, so for the category one, I want to display it as radio. Now, if you select radio, that means you'll have the option to select all the products. So that's important, okay? So let's go to here and then drop in a on sale. And that is pretty much it. The ones that I feel that is most used. So once you've saved it, then we can scroll back up here and close the window. Once that is done, then it should add your new shop page widget thing here, and then the shortcode. Copy that to your clipboard. So what we need to do is actually go to appearance, and click on widgets. So we need to add that on our shop page sidebar. So we need to scroll down here. So we need to drag a text module into the shop sidebar widget area, and I'm going to paste in the shortcode right there. Click on save. Now if we go to the shop page, then it's not going to display yet, okay, because we need to edit the layout for the shop page. So go back here, themify shop, themify settings. Now scroll down to the shop settings tab. So for the product archive, you want to set the shop sidebar to appear on the left hand side, and also for the product archive sidebar to be on the left. So those two have to be the same. Click on save and let's refresh the page. And as you can see, the filter will show up and it looks good. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to walk you through just some basics of the layout settings. Alright, so you can change the product layout. I'm going to display it as a grid of 3, so 3 images per row. And you can disable the masonry layout if, for example, you might have a product like this one and you want to make sure everything is aligned, then you would disable it. So I'm going to disable it. For the content style, as I showed you before, you might want to change it, but I'm going to keep it defaults. Keep that as defaults. So for each of these settings here, what I suggest you do is to maybe open up your shop page like this in another tab, and then just play around with the settings here. These are basically all the display things on the shop page, and then you can just set it in, save it, and then refresh your page to see what sort of layout you want to display. Alright, so for example, I might want to hide the product share, that one there. What else do I want to hide? I think that is pretty much it. And let's say if I save it, then the product share thing, which is this thing here, then it probably will disappear. Okay, and yeah, then I'm going to scroll down to the single product page. So what I like to do is just click into a product and we can edit the product page layout. So by default, this is the layout and I personally like it. It's pretty good. You might want to remove the tags and also the SKU if you've set that in. So what you might do is you might hide product SKU, hide the product tags, hide the product share button, because I don't think that's that useful these days. Most people would probably just share the link with their friends rather than using that to share it. So that's why I want to remove it. Okay, so you can also change it to the default lightbox. I'm going to keep it as Zoom. Now for the wishlist settings, you want to change it to wishlist page. Okay, so for example, if let's just save this first. Now, for example, if I click on this heart icon, then it adds to the wish list. Okay, so that will be added to the wish list page instead of the contact. Now, for the Spark animation, you want to disable that, then you can. For example, if we go back to our shop page, and let's say we click on that, that's the Spark animation. So you can change the color, and I'll show you how to set in the colors later, and then we can change it to our primary color, or you can just disable it, keep this as default, and basically that's it. So if we save it, then we're pretty much good to go. So what I'm going to go through next is the WooCommerce settings, for example, the taxes, shippings, coupons, and payments. So right now I'm going to go through the tax settings. Now what you want to do is hover over WooCommerce, click on settings, then you'll be directed here, then click in the tax tab. So the tax settings is something that I found to be the hardest, especially for the people in the US, because you don't actually have a nationwide, like a standard tax rate. You have different rates for different states and different areas and things like that. So adding it into WooCommerce can be a little bit troublesome, but I spent a long time trying to figure out how to do it the best way. So I'll show you how to do it in the tutorial. So it's going to be like semi-automated for the people who are in the US. So the first thing is I do want to explain it for the rest of the world, where most places are actually just using a standard tax rate. So for example, Australia, it is just like 10% standard for the entire country. That means it's just really simple. So to include it in Australia, then you just need to click on like standard rates, and if you've already set in your country, then it should already add it for you. So Australia, you just need to add in your country code, and then just add in the rate for the country, and then the tax name. Leave the priority as 1. Compound is only for places like Canada, where they have like a federal tax and also a province tax, where you need to actually add them both together. But generally, for most countries, you don't need to use it. For shipping, you just need to check if your country charges taxes on the shipping as well. All right. So for example, I might show you an example. So insert row, let's say you're in the UK. You need to click on this thing here in a new tab, and you need to look for the country code for UK, and I believe that's GB because I checked it a while ago. So scroll down, GB. All right. So put that in here, and then I believe the tax rate was, I think, 20%. So we're going to put in 20%, and it is called VAT. All right, and that's all you need to do. So if your country has just a standard nationwide tax, then that is all you need to do, and just click on Save Changes. And then you can click on the tax options as well. So right here is basically you can display the prices in the shop excluding tax or including. So for example, in Australia, most stuff like on the shelf, the prices will include the tax already. So depending on the country and what people expect, then you can either exclude it or include it. So for people in the US, you might exclude it because you might have different rates for different customers, and that way you won't confuse them. So probably for the US, you'd set in excluding. For other countries which have standard nationwide taxes like Australia, or you're just used to having prices included, then select that. All right. And then you can also display prices during checkout and the cart as well. So you can select including and excluding for that, and then just save the changes. If we click on the standard rates, so I'm going to basically explain it for my US viewers, because I was looking like for information about this like all over the internet and I couldn't find it, and even WooCommerce didn't really explain it properly. They just told us to refer to our accountant and things like that, but I actually wanted to explain it. So What I do recommend is probably contacting an accountant, but again, they're not going to tell you how to add it into WooCommerce. So that's something that I will show you. So what we need to do first is, if you're living in the United States, is you want to determine which type of state you are. So if you're origin based or destination based. So you can look at this map here and check out which type you are. Okay, so for example, if you're living in Texas and your business is operating in Texas, that means you'll be a origin state. And what that basically means is the tax rate will be based on the location of your business. So for example, your business is located in Houston, Texas. Your zip code is 77001. And what you do is you go to a website called TaxJar, Sales Tax Calculator. And for example, 77001, you just click on lookup rate and you can check your rate. So the rate is 8.25. So basically, you only need to pay and charge sales tax for people who are in your state, okay, that you're operating in. So for example, if someone from New York buys your product, then you don't need to pay or charge sales tax. Only if the person is living in Texas, then you'll charge them. So basically, to add that in, it's also fairly simple as well. So you just click on insert row, and if you're the US, I think just type in US like that. All right, so for the state code, you can look at the map here. So that's TX for Texas. Put that into there. So leave these one as empty. Check your rate, which is 8.25. Then you just put in 8.25 in there, and that will be your sales tax. All right. Keep the priority as 1, compound as unticked. Shipping, you need to make sure whether or not they charge shipping. So you can check that out on taxjar.com, or just Google it or ask your accountant. All right. So once that is done, then you can just save the changes. So if I go to the store page now, and if I add a product in, add to cart, and then I will check out. And for the country, I'm going to select, for example, United States. For the state, this is going to be Texas. Zip code, I'm not sure, maybe 7705. Scroll there. Okay, so the tax is not going to show up yet, so I'm going to quickly put in the address, random one. So as you can see, the sales tax will be added, so that would be the 8.25. Okay, and basically, if for example someone from New York buys your product, change the zip code to, for example, 001, then it won't actually add in the sales tax. Okay, so I'm going to explain the destination based one now. So if you go back here, then if you're, for example, you live in and operate in the New York state, then you're a destination based state. So what that means is you'll need to charge the tax rate based on the location of your customer's shipping address. So basically, since every single area in the state will probably have a different rate, then you basically need to know thousands of rates. So basically what we need to do is actually import the rates into our tax settings. So I'll show you how to do it right now. What we need to do is we need to go to plugins and click on add new. And now what we're going to type in here is tax rate upload. Click on enter. Now you want to go to scroll down here to tax rate upload by Adam Bowen. Install now and also activate it. Alright, so once that is done, then you'll need to go to taxrates.com and then click on download sales tax tables here on top and select New York, continue, and all you need to do is enter in your name, email, just your name here again, and probably a phone number. I don't think it has to be real because after you click on download, then it should download to your computer. All right, so the file should look something like this in a zip file. What you need to do after that, you need to actually double click it, and then it'll actually open up in a folder like that, okay, or unzip it. And inside the folder, they'll have an Excel file with all the tax rates. So we need to go back to our website and we need to upload those rates. So hover over settings, click on tax rate upload, and you want to choose file, and then we go to our desktop, click the folder and upload the CSV file. Click on open and then select add tax rates. So that's going to import everything from the CSV, and I'll actually show you an example of basically how it works. So scroll down, you want to change all the priority to 1, click on yes and submit. So you also want to check if the shipping is taxable, and I believe for the New York it's yes, so I'm going to submit. Now you can also change the tax name. By default it will be the area and also tax, okay, so you can actually change it to, for example, sales tax if you need to, but let's just leave it as default for now. So as you can see, it's added in 2,000 zip codes for the New York state. Then what you can do is let's go to the WooCommerce and click on settings, and then if you go to the tax options here, click on standard rates, you should see over 2,000 rates added. So as you can see, for this zip code here, your rate is 8.625, and for other ones it's 8.875, so it's all different per zip code, so that's why we need to add in every single one. Alright, so once we do that, then let's actually go to the store and let me explain it a little bit further. So if we go to checkout now, so basically let's say your operating address is at zip code of 10,001. Okay, so if we actually check the rate here, 10,001, look up rate, so it's 8.875. Alright, now your buyer is from Syracuse in New York, hopefully that's how you pronounce it, and basically if we set in that zip code, it's 13201. You'll see that if you get the calculator out, then it should be 8%. A different zip code, which may be 14201, which is in Buffalo, then the rate is different again. Okay, so that is if you're a destination-based state. Alright, so by the way, you also need to only pay and charge sales tax if you have a nexus in the state. So that basically means that if you have a significant presence, which means like, do you have a shop there or employees there? And I recommend reading on that on the Tax Jar blog. And then I've explained all that, and then basically you'll be good to go. Okay, so what I want to walk you through now is setting in different tax classes. So for example, in the United Kingdom, the standard rate is 20%, but you might also have different products, for example, home energy and products for renovation, and that's only charged at 5%. Or you might have 0 rates for life necessities such as groceries and things like that. So to set that into the WooCommerce, then you can click on settings, taxes here, and then click on reduce rates. So let's take the UK as an example. Just insert row, set in GB for the country code, set in the rate. So for example, 5% for the reduced rate. This one might be reduced rate, and then save changes. Now once that is done and set in, you can also set in the 0 rate % for this tab here, but all you need to do is go to your products, all products, and let's just say this thing is a life necessity and it's set to 5%. Then you just go to that product and scroll down to the product data. For the tax class, select reduced rate, and then you just update the products, and then pretty much you're good to go. Alright, so, and I'll also be making a separate video about how to add in the tax rates for Canada as well, which is a little bit complicated, but I've tried to make it as simple as possible because we'll also be uploading the rates and it's sort of semi-automated too. All right, so what we're going to be walking you through now is the shipping options. So right now I'm going to walk you through setting up the shipping zones. So you'll need to hover over WooCommerce, click on settings, and click onto the shipping tab. And then we're going to click on add shipping zone. Okay, so the first zone that most people will have is a domestic one, so that's within your own country. Now for the zone regions, for example, if you're located in the United States, then just type that in. Now, if the price to ship to Canada is very similar or the same, then you actually might include that one as well in the zone. Okay, because it just saves time instead of creating so many zones. So what we're going to do is click on add shipping method. The first one that we're going to add is flat rate. So you can add that in. So basically you offer a flat rate shipping method. You can click on edit and you can change the cost of it here. So $10. Save changes and add shipping method. You might also offer local pickup and then add shipping method like that. Okay, and you can also edit as well. And let's say you want to offer a express rate, then you can add shipping method. Just add in the flat rate, so add that in. Now you can actually change the name from flat rate to express rate and maybe change the pricing to $20. Save changes. So we're not going to add the free shipping here because it doesn't give us too many options. We're going to install a special plugin that gives us a lot more options, so you can set it up with advanced parameters. So let's close that for now, and you can also rearrange everything just by dragging and dropping like that. So once you've done, then you can click on save changes. Now I want you to click on the shipping zones. So once you click on that, you'll see the domestic zone set up. So you'll need to set up all the specific shipping zones that you ship to. If you don't, then it actually won't show any shipping methods. Okay, so if you ship to Australia and New Zealand, you're going to have to set up a shipping zone. Otherwise, when people actually check out, then you'll say there is no shipping to that area. All right. Okay, so once that is done, then I'm going to show you the shipping classes. So if you click on shipping classes, then we're able to set in a shipping class. For example, a heavy item shipping class. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that and paste it into the slug and description. So that's for your own reference, and save shipping classes. So once you're done, so this is really good if you have, for example, if we go to our products, for example, if you have a heavy item such as a sofa or maybe a television, then you might set that to heavy item. Okay, so look for black leather sofa. You can click on edit, and then basically you can scroll down here to shipping, and for the shipping class you want to select heavy item and then just update it. Okay, so when you've done that, then you need to go back to the WooCommerce settings and then click back to the shipping area. Okay, you need to click on edit. Now basically I'm going to show you how to set the price for it. So for your flat rate, obviously it's not going to be $10, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So you can set in the price here. So for example, if you want the total cost to be 100, then you're going to put in 90 because the standard is already 10. And then you can set it to be each shipping class or for it to be the most expensive shipping class. All right, and then click on save changes. And you probably also want to edit the express one as well. So for example, I'm going to change it to 180. So it's going to be a total of 200. Save the changes. All right, so once that is set in, I'm going to show you an example. Let's go to the store. And let's add, okay, we already got the black dress in there. So you're going to click on checkout. Then we're going to scroll down. So as you can see, if we set it to United States, and then the flat rate will be $10, express will be 20. Now if we change it to maybe a different country, then it'll say that no shipping will be offered because you haven't set in the shipping zone to the UK yet. Alright, so if we add the sofa in there, add that to cart, and then we go to checkout. We need to set the country to United States first. Okay, so as you can see, it is $100 now and $200 for express. Alright, so once we've done that, then I'm going to show you how to set in the free shipping. So what we need to do is go to plugins, click on add new, and the plugin that we're going to download is advanced free shipping. Okay, so it will be by Jerome Sormani with 20,000 installs. Click on install now and then activate. Okay, so once we've done that, we need to go back to the WooCommerce settings and then click on the shipping tab and then click on advanced free shipping and then click on add free shipping rate. Okay, so this one I'm just going to name it free shipping. And for example, you might want to offer free shipping for people who have spent more than $50. Then you need to set in subtotal equal to or greater than $50. Okay, so free shipping will only be enabled if it exceeds $50. And then you can add in another condition. So for this condition, since we have the heavy item, which is the sofa, you want to select contains shipping class. So you want to set it to not equal to heavy item. So what that basically means is free shipping will only be enabled if in the cart there is no heavy item. Okay, and I actually want to name it as well. So I'm going to name it free shipping in capitals. Update it again. Okay, so I'm going to open up a new window and I'm going to go to the shop page and let's just add this black dress into the cart and click on checkout. Let's scroll down, change the country to United States. So as you can see, it offers free shipping, but let's just say we add a sofa in there. So we're going to go back to the shop and then we add the sofa to the cart, which is the heavy item shipping class, and we check out. So as you can see, once that is added, then free shipping will be disabled. Okay, so this plugin is really useful because you can also set in, for example, if you ship to Australia, you can actually add a different group. And let's say for Australia, you only want to give free shipping if they spend $100 or more. Then you'll set it to $100. Also add a condition, set the country, and then set the country to Australia, like that. And then you can update it like that. Okay, so you got to make sure you set in the Australia shipping zone in first though. And another plugin which I think is really useful is the advanced free shipping validation. So you can go to plugins and this will basically tell the, click on add new, will tell the customer why certain items can't be shipped. Okay, so it might be useful. I'm going to search it up. Okay, so if you want that plugin, then you can install and activate it and set that up. So that's pretty much it for shipping. Right now I'm going to walk you through setting up the payment and also the coupon options. So for your payment and checkout options, you want to hover over WooCommerce and then click on settings. So if you scroll down to the currency, make sure that is correct. All right, then you can save changes. Once that is done, then you can click on the checkout tab up here. And if you have the SSL from HostGator, then you can actually force secure checkout. Scroll down, leave those all as defaults. Okay, and then click on save changes. Now, let's say you want to enable bank transfer, then you can click on bank transfer. And you can enable it just by selecting that and leaving your instructions and also your account information to finish the transfer. Okay, so you can also do that for the check payments and also the cash on delivery. So for example, the cash on delivery, you might actually not accept it if it's a virtual product. So save changes. Now, generally I recommend PayPal as the default payment method because it's the easiest, most efficient, and probably the safest. And PayPal also has its own HTTP, which they have the SSL certificate, so the payment is done on their platform and that means they handle the security as well. So once you've enabled it, then enter in your PayPal email. If you don't have one, I recommend signing up for a business account because you're going to be accepting money. So if you scroll down, if you select PayPal Sandbox, so that will enable you to test payments. So you need to create a developer account, and I do have a tutorial on that at my YouTube channel. So scrolling down, you might also want to enable the API credentials so you can process your refunds via PayPal. So you can click on that to learn how to get the API and then just paste it into these sections and then save changes. So if we actually go to the accounts tab as well, you'll want to enable customer registration on my account page. So once that is done, scroll down and then click on save. And if you click on emails here as well, then you can actually set a different header. So for example, you can change a header image to your own header image. And what I'll do is click on media here. So open it in a new tab. So let's say you have a different header design, you would add that via here. And then after that, you'll have a URL, which you can copy. And then you'll just paste in the URL here. And also you can change the footer text to your brand as well as changing the colors. So I'll be going through the colors in a second, but this is where you can actually edit it. So save it. And right now I'm gonna walk you through how to create coupons as well. So click on the coupons and you can just click on add coupon. And all you need to do is set in a coupon name. So Black Friday. So I don't believe it's case sensitive, so people can type in all lowercase or all uppercase, but I think they will need to put the space there. Okay, you can add a description, but you don't need to. For the discount type, you can do percentage discount. So for example, 20, that would equals 20% discount, or you could do a fixed cart discount of like $20. All right, and if you want to allow free shipping, you can tick that, but you do probably want to put in an expiry date. So let's say it expires 31st. And you can also set the usage restrictions here. Minimum spend, specific products or exclude products. That's all up to you. And also usage limits. So depending on how generous you want to be, you might set a limit per user. But I normally just leave it as is. They can use it as much as they want because, you know, they're just buying more stuff from your website. Click on publish. And basically that is done. So if you actually visit the store, and let's say you want to check out, people will enter the coupon code here. So Black Friday and then apply. Okay, so it says it's successfully applied. If you scroll down, it would minus $20 from the checkout. All right. So that is pretty much it. So right now I'm going to walk you through how to add in your logo and fav icon, which is the little icon up here. And then we'll go through choosing your color scheme and also applying it to your website. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add in the fav icon and also the logo up here. So you need to click on customize. Now while that is loading, you can also go to fiverr.com. And you can also search for logo design here. Click on search. So you can get logos for $5 here. And you can also get them to send you the fav icon version, which is basically just the icon without the text. All right. So if you go back here, then so click on site logo and tagline. Click on site logo. So if you don't have a logo yet, just set in a logo site title, and you can change the font weight to maybe bold, like that, and you can also change the font there. You can click on logo image if you have an image, click on that to upload files, select files, and search for the folder if you have been following along. Okay, so there's two different logos here. Now what I recommend is ensuring that it is a PNG file, which basically means that there is no background on that image. Now if you're doing it yourself, that's what you have to make sure, all right? Because sometimes you might save it with a white background and you don't want it, because if you have like a dark header, then that means the white background will actually show up, all right? Now the recommended size is 128 for the height. For the width, it doesn't really matter as much, but for the height, you want to keep it 128 or below. All right, so let's just upload that one in there. Click on insert image, and then it should show up. So this is the height setting, this is the width setting. So since the height is 128, you want to halve it. So by halving it, it is 64. Okay, so once you've set to 64, then it should be good. Now let's just zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the whole menu. You can also arrange the position by clicking here, set it to relative, and then you can adjust it padding for the top and also for the bottom like that. So maybe +2, and then you move it down, and just play around with that until you get it exactly where you want it. All right, so we can click on save and close it, and then I'll show you how to add in the favicon. So okay, so now for the favicon, we need to go to our dashboard area, and then we want to click on media and then click on add new, and then I'm going to select files. So I'm going to select my favicon, and it's also transparent, and as you can see, the size is 64 pixels, so it's 64 by 64, and make sure that you crop it as closely as the actual icon as possible, and then click on open. And then once that is uploaded, then you can click on edit, grab the URL here, so double click and select all, copy the entire URL, go back to Themify settings, and then paste it into here, the URL, click on save, and then we're going to go to our website, and then it should load up on the top left here, and then you're pretty much good to go. Okay, so in this section, I'll be talking about choosing colors and creating a color palette, and then actually applying it to your website. So colors are really important because they evoke emotions, and also if people like go to a website and they don't like the color scheme of it, then they might just even click off. So it's really important to choose the right colors for your audience. All right, so the first thing that I want you to do is really understand your audience. Think about how old they are they mostly male or female, what do they like, where do they live, and things like that. And then once you have an idea of like what emotion you want to evoke as well, then go to a color meanings website. So you can go to Hogan Chua web design guide, okay, and then you can click on this, the color meanings website, and basically it'll explain what each of the colors mean. So for example, I'll be applying the color to a hypothetical meal delivery service like fresh food and things like that delivered to your house. So I'm going to be choosing the base color of green. All right, so some of you might be selling clothes, and black might be a really popular choice because it is kind of stylish and elegant, and a lot of fashion websites will actually use black or dark gray. All right, so choose your base color, and then what I want you to do is go to Material UI colors.co. All right, so I also have that link here if you click on it as well. And basically you want to select the right shade of your base color, because let's say if you move it here, then it's like really dark, and for example if you choose a dark blue, then it's more sort of corporate-y. It probably suits like an older audience, but if you choose like a lighter version of it, then it's more young and energetic. So choosing the right shade for the right age group is really important as well. So for example, I'm going to be choosing this light green here. Now if you want to choose like a black color, I would suggest moving the thing to 900 and using this really dark gray instead, because most of the time on most websites it's not 100% black, because the contrast between white and black is a little bit too much. So I prefer using really dark gray instead. So once you have your color code, my one is the green one, let's move that to 600. I want you to go to a website called Peloton, PALETTON.com, and then put in your base color code into here. Click on OK. Okay, so once you've done that, then click on Add Complementary. So that will use color theory to select the best color that goes with your base color. So if you don't like that color that they've chosen using the color theory, you can also use these different ones here as well. So click on each of these ones and pick a color, or you can also use the freestyle option here, and if you hold shift, you can actually drag one of the color wheel things and it will select a color for you. Alright, so it keeps it on like this track thing so that it ensures that it's like the same tone. Alright, so personally I'm going to select this color here, and then what I'm going to do is copy it, and then I'm going to go to color.adobe.com, and if you go there, click on custom, and then for the secondary color I'm going to paste it into there, and I'm also going to paste my primary color. So my primary color is there. I'm going to paste it into here like that, and then click on enter. And for the middle one, I'm going to set it to white. Okay, so this is going to be our accent color, which is going to be used for our buttons, like sale icons or things that you want to bring attention to. The other ones, I'm going to set it as neutral colors because you don't really need that many colors. It's sort of like choosing colors is sort of like choosing what color to wear. So you can look good in just like one colored black suit or like a white dress or something like that. You don't need too many colors. So especially if it's an e-commerce store. This one, I'm going to set it to be a dark gray. Okay. So basically this will be your color palette. This is going to be a base color, accent color, and neutral colors that you can use. So you don't have to use exactly these color codes because sometimes it might not be visible or it's just not practical. When that is the case, then what I'll do is copy the color code here, go to 0 to 255.com, enter in your base color, and also open up another one. And then I also want to copy over my accent color and put it into there. Okay, so you can use different shades of your base color if sometimes you can't use that color. And it's also good because if you have it open, then you can easily set the color in for your buttons and things like that, for your button hover colors. Alright, so once we have that all set, then we're going to go to the website. So this is the other demo website which I've built, and basically I'll show you how to apply it on this website here. Okay, I also wanted to point out that if your, let's say your base color is black here, then you can pretty much pick any color that you want. Alright, so maybe what I'll suggest is just pick a accent color from here. If you were like a fashion store which were mainly selling to teenage girls, like you might pick pink as the accent color. But if you're like a clothing store that sells like for women and men, then you might choose a blue color because blue is the most popular color in the world. So it might be a good choice as your accent color, and then basically just paste it into here. It might also be a good idea to actually save it. So you need to probably create a Adobe ID if you don't have one and sign in, or you can just make sure to write down the hex code on a piece of paper. Then whenever you're building a website, then just enter it here so you can just copy and paste every time you need to change the colors. What we're going to do now is go to our website and then click on customize. Okay, so make sure you are at Themify options and select advanced options. Then you can click on the body. Okay, so for the body background, you can change the background color, but I'm just going to keep it as white because you are an e-commerce store, so you want to bring the attention to the products rather than the actual brand of your website. Alright, so for the body font, you can also change the font color, but personally I'll just keep it as default because it is already dark gray and it looks good. Okay, and for the body link, what I would set here is probably your base color. So if you go to your color palette here, you can copy over your base color and then go back to your website, and then you can paste it into there. And as you can see, it's changed to green now. Alright, so if your base color is, for example, like the dark gray, then you might want to use your accent color. So as I said before, you might have picked a blue or a pink, then that might be your link color. If it's sort of like a color which is like too light, for example, like this yellow here, it's like way too light, then you wouldn't use that as your link color at all. You'd probably use a underline instead. So whatever you do on your website, you got to make sure that everything is visible. Then for the body link hover, this is basically when you hover over the link, what color it changes to. So as I said before earlier, when we're setting in the buttons, we use the formula, which you either choose 2 shades darker or 2 shades lighter. So in this case, I'm going to choose 2 shades darker, and then I'm going to put it into the body link hover. Okay, so when you hover over it, then it should be darker, so it gives that little feedback there. Alright, so we're going to minimize this, and we've set in the body. Then we're going to go to the header section. Okay, so as you can see, you can't see the header menus and things like that. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see that. So the header section affects everything up here. So if you click on the header wrap, you can change the header wrap background color. So for example, if you were a fashion store, then I might change it to a darker color, so the 3D, or your base color, which is that really dark gray. Okay, but since I'm selling fresh food here, I'm gonna keep it as white because it just looks really simple and sort of friendly. So I'm gonna keep that as is. So I wouldn't put the base color in there unless it's like a dark gray or something like that, because let's say if I put like a green in there, then it's just too much. So let's grab that green and let's put that in there. So I just think that's just too much, so it looks a lot better just white. So once you've done that, then you can go to the header font section. So the header font is actually anything without a link. So everything up here is actually a link, so we don't need to change anything. So if you click on header link, then this changes the color for all the links in the header section. So you might want to change this to a dark gray. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this color code, copy that, let's paste that into here like that, and as you can see, that changes all the link colors to that dark gray. So I would use a neutral color. If I put it to be the green one, then it wouldn't be as visible. That's why I like to use a neutral color for that. If your background was dark, then I would change the header link to white. The header link hover is when you actually hover over it, so you want to give it a nice effect. So what you can change it to is maybe like a green, your base color, or you can actually choose a darker version or lighter version of the color that you put in here. Okay, so for this instance, I might go for a 5D, so it goes a little bit lighter, like that. So it gives that slight effect. Or you can choose your base color. Okay, so as you can see, when you're hovering here, you see that yellow underline. So to change that color, you can actually go to the accent styling, click on that, and I believe that's the accent border color. So I'm going to set it to 5D, and that will change like that. Okay, and then I'm going to save it. Now for the site logo and tagline, the tagline, I might remove it to none. Okay, so there's nothing there. Let's close that. For the main navigation, this is actually this here. So this is your main nav. So you can actually override the header link colors if you change it here. So I'm going to leave it as is because I don't need to, but you can if you change these settings here. So for the menu active link, let's say if we click on the shop page, then as you can see, if we change the menu active link, and let's change it to maybe like a green or something like that. Let's change it to a red. So that is the active link color. All right, so for the active link, I'm just going to leave it as default because I think it just looks simple like that. All right, and then for the menu active link hover, this is basically when you hover over the link, then what color it changes to. For the drop down container, if you have a drop down container or link here, you can change the background color and also the link colors here. And then if we click on the shop section, so we're able to change the product title, the price, and for the add to cart button, what I'll change here is the background color. I'm going to change it to my base color. So go here and copy that code over, put that into there. Now for the base hover color, I'm going to change it to 2 shades darker. and then paste it into there. So when you hover over it, it should go darker. I'm going to save and publish and refresh it. Then it will change. Alright, so for the cell tag, this is the tag here. For this, I wouldn't use the base color, I would use my accent color. So I'm going to go here, grab the accent color, paste it into background color. And for the text color, I'm going to change it to white. So change that to white like that. And then that's pretty much good to go. Okay, so for your sidebar here, you can also change the colors here. So for example, as you can see, the price slider background color, you can change that if you go to the accent styling. And I believe that should be the accent background color. So I might change that to a green. So what I'm going to do is grab my green color and then put that into there like that. And it should change that. And it also changes that one as well. Okay. So once I've done that, then we can scroll down to the footer section. Okay, so this is your footer. The footer wrap is basically the background color. So generally you would choose a neutral color for this section. You wouldn't put your base color. Again, the green color is just too heavy. So what I'll do is I put a light gray. If you're a fashion store or something like that, you might choose a dark gray. So I put a light gray, and because the footer section is not that important, I like to normally tone it down. So I normally like to make it sort of lighter gray for the links and things like that. So if we go to the footer font, so the footer font is this here. Okay, so it's not a link, that is your font. I'm going to keep it as that color as default, but you can change it there. For the footer link, this is the footer link here, and I'm going to change it to a lighter gray. So maybe let's try 5D like that. Okay, so it's lighter, and I think it just looks nicer. Alright, and for the footer link hover, so this is the color when you hover over it. What I'm going to do is put a different shade, so maybe a, let's say a darker version, 3D like that. And so when you hover over it, then it gives you a slight effect. Okay, just really subtle and nice. So once you've done that, then you can close it, and that's pretty much it. So let's save, and then let's close it. Okay, so I'm going to briefly walk you through how I actually applied the color onto the home page. Alright, so the first thing that you want for your home page is picking the right image. So as you can see, I picked a image with fresh food. Personally, I'll probably put some green like veggies in there or something like that, but I picked it from Unsplash. So picking the right image is really important. The second thing is I would use the base color if you can for your text. If you can't, then choose a neutral color. For your button, you would probably use your accent color as I have here, and I've also put it so it's a darker red when you hover over it. Scrolling down, I've used the accent color for the icons, okay, and also for the links I've used the base color. And I've also used the light gray for a divider sort of background, so it separates the content really well. And then scrolling down, for this one, I put a sort of a outline button or a ghost button. The reason why I did that is because these buttons here are solid, and these are more important that people add these to cart. So that's why I use a ghost button, because it's been statistically proven that they will be clicked less, and it looks just really subtle and nice. Okay, scrolling down, so as you can see, the divider color here, I didn't use a light gray. The color that I used was I think this really light green instead. So basically you can choose like a shade of your base color and put it onto your website, and it'll actually still look good. Okay, scrolling down, I used a dark gray for this section here because my footer is light gray. So if my footer here was dark gray, then I probably wouldn't use the dark gray again, because then there wouldn't be any separation of content. So basically that's how I applied the colors. So it's really simple. So if you look at it, we just use the base color for most of the website, an accent color for buttons and things that you bring attention to, neutral colors for areas which you don't know which color to use, and then you can use different shades of your base color as well as using it for your buttons and hover effects. All right. So that was pretty much it for the colors. I also want to briefly introduce you to the responsive styling options that you have with the builder. So for example, the website actually is pretty responsive already. So as you can see, all the content will align properly. But sometimes for your hero image, the text might be a little bit too much, or it might not be visible anymore because as you can see, the image will shrink, but you'll still have a lot of text. So you can actually, let's go back. You can actually remove or set the visibility for it. So for example, if you don't want too much text to appear, for the visibility, you can actually hide it. All right, so you can hide it for mobile devices. And if you've set that in and saved it, okay, so if we close it, and then if we reduce the screen, then it'll actually disappear like that. All right, then there's also another thing where you can, let's turn on the builder. I'm going to go back here, show that instead, but let's click on the styling options here, click on mobile, and you're able to set a background color, like for example a white background color, or you can choose a dark one like that depending on your background, and then you can set the opacity here like that, so it increases the visibility for your text. So for me, I'm going to change it to white and 0.75% like that, and then click on save. And then for tablet as well, so I did that for the tablet as well, so that text is visible. All right, so landscape, you might want to do it for landscape as well. I'm gonna just leave it as that. For desktop, it will look good. All right, so you can check all those options, and also I forgot to show you that you're able to set in columns as well for each of your rows. So for example, this row here, you're able to set in columns, and then it will separate into columns. You can separate as many as you want like that, and then you can build your website adding in the modules there. All right, so that's pretty much it for the tutorial. If you have any questions, drop it down below, and also I will be uploading additional videos at my Udemy course. So if you go to udemy.com, and if you search for courses here, just type in my name, Hogan Chua, and then click on enter. So basically my course isn't up yet, so I'll upload it in the coming days. And basically you sign up for the course for free. You don't need to pay or anything like that. So I'll upload additional videos there and things like that. So that's it. So if you like the video, make sure to give it a like and share it with your friends, and hopefully you found it really useful. Thanks.